Meeting Wednesday, September 12th, 2018 at 6:30 to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm stuck.
Just stand by for Doug.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
I'm sorry, Carter. I'm totally stuck on this
okay?
thing.
Since obviously we didn't have a meeting yesterday, can we have a brief moment of silence for yesterday, which was another day of sorrow of September 11th. Please have a moment of silence. Thank you very much. And I'm sure everybody can remember where they were that day. Just a few notes before we begin. Obviously, this meeting is being televised by TCTV, local channel 8. If anyone else is taping, please raise your hand to let us know for the record. I see nobody. Comments are only allowed during the public comment section of the meeting for the benefit of those watching at home and the board. Anyone wishing to comment at that time will need to come to the front table here and speak into the microphone. Anyone wishing to be acknowledged by the board should raise their hand and wait to be called on. This keeps the meeting orderly and allows the business at hand to be completed. Times will be kept to a minimum, so our regular business may be attended to in a timely manner. We do appreciate your cooperation. Any public comments at this time? I see none. Meeting minutes for 8/22/2018.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of 8/22/18 as written.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion, a second. Any other further discussion? I see none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug? Yes. Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. There are no executive minutes. New business. Appointment introductions, Mr. Tenzini?
Mr. Chairman, we have 3 new employees to introduce to you this evening, and I'll leave that to the department heads, starting with Kelly.
Great.
This is Nicole Melindy, and she's the new assistant town accountant. She's been with us now a couple of weeks, and she's doing very well. She comes from a payroll background in the public sector, and she's just doing a great job so far for us.
Great.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everything's going well?
It's going great.
Are you being treated well?
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
absolutely.
That's all that matters. Are you happy?
I am happy. I'm very happy.
That's the other thing that always happens. Right?
Yes.
That matters. Well, thank you so much, and I'm happy to have you aboard.
Thank you.
And Cheryl, our collector treasurer.
Oh, we got 2. This is great.
Yeah,
This is fantastic.
this is Erin, and
Erin.
she
Hi, Erin.
is the deputy assistant, and this is Cheryl, and she is gonna be the finance clerk.
Great.
Erin's been here maybe 3 weeks, and Cheryl's been here 2?
Right.
One.
One.
So, it's
One.
going good so far?
Feels like 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait for the month. It feels like a year. It happens. It happens. It
Welcome
happens.
aboard.
Thank you.
Well,
We're
thank
happy
you.
to have
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We have a full staff.
I know,
Yeah.
finally.
Very exciting.
Yep,
This is great.
yep.
Get some work done. This is awesome.
Yep.
This is great. I'm sure, Carter, you're happy?
As well as you don't come to the, next time I offer somebody employment.
You got it. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Welcome, both of you.
It is nice to be fully staffed in those units.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great.
Any nomination, the municipal management fellow?
I would ask Adam Lamontagne to come up to the front desk. Adam is our nominee.
Yep.
To be the municipal management fellow.
Hi.
It was a rather, we did not get any, no. We had a rather exhaustive search, working through 23 applicants. Adam is in the final semester of earning his MPA at Westfield, is it a university now at this point?
Yes, it is.
Westfield University. And Adam spent couple years on the Chicopee Conservation Commission, appointed by the mayor at age 18 to that. The Mobile Home Rent Control Commission, elected to the school committee for a 3-year term, and then elected to his city council for a 3-year term. and he's the recipient of an executive certificate in leadership from the Kennedy School of Management for public sector management folks. So he's, we've given you, I think, a fairly extensive background on him. Happy to answer, he'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Does anybody have any questions?
What is your interest in coming to Templeton?
Well, first I'd like to thank all of you for this opportunity and the very thorough process that we all went through. And
Adam, can I just ask you to speak up just a hair?
yes, it was a very thorough process. I'm happy to be here. And I decided to go into government because I've always wanted to serve the public. It's always been my goal to make the residents happy, as well as government collaboratively working together. It's a very difficult balance, but at the same time, I like the challenge of being in municipal government, and ever since the Harvard Kennedy School, I've always had a focus on being working in town management. So that's was my drive. It's the dedication and the hard work of the role.
What's your interest in Templeton? Like, why Templeton?
Well, Templeton is interesting because it's about the size of my district I represent on the city council in Chicopee. We have approximately 56,000 residents broken up into 9 wards. I was a ward councilor, and it's around the same size, being, according to the census in 2010, it was around 8,013. I know it's a little bit down right now, it's about 7,500, give or take, and I felt it's to be compatible to the district I already represented.
Okay, great.
So your experience on the city council, has that been beneficial to you? Have you learned portions of government that you weren't aware of from your education? How do you view that experience?
Absolutely. I mean, going from the school committee to the city council and working with the city departments, I mean, the school committee was a great experience because that makes approximately almost 60% of our budget. But on the city end, there's a lot more limited resources. So drafting the budget was a little bit more difficult. Well, I didn't draft it, but I reviewed the budget, working collaboratively with the mayor's office, and the challenges and also ordinances and bylaws, the procedures there were something that was a learning curve. And I learned a lot from the experienced members of the board, because when I first got in there, I was still learning myself. So I felt it was important to take everything in because you really learn from other people's experiences, and you also learn the process on every decision you make. There's a positive impact, but there could be a detrimental impact. So you have to weigh all those variables when making any kind of decision.
And do you find the process of working as a council or a multi-membered group collaboratively and collectively beneficial, effective, positive?
Absolutely. I enjoy working with everybody, and it's those relationships you develop over time, and you really learn about the issues. So I'm comfortable with that. If that's a question, Selectman Morrison.
Yep. And you're still on the city council?
No, I'm not. I'm 100% dedicated and focused for the long haul for Templeton.
Okay. So you just served 1 3-year term then?
I served 2 terms I got elected for.
Okay. All right.
All right. Julie, have anything? Anything, ma'am? Did you get a chance to look at the Essential Competency Municipal Management Fellow worksheet?
Yes, sir.
What did you think about that? What was your feedback on that?
Well, reviewing it, I felt comfortable and a command of each of the positions. And obviously, I'm going to still learn the process, and that's why I felt this position to be perfect. Going into municipal management, certainly I felt that I could accomplish each one of these. But some I have more of a command for than others. But as the process continues, I will definitely be thorough in all of the tiers.
Well, because, as a city council working for a mayor's office, it's a little bit different than working for, a small local government with a board of selectmen and a town administrator or a town manager. So it's a little bit different, but I think it's something that you can probably grasp in a short period of time. So basically, you thought they were pretty decent?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, anybody else have anything else for?
Yeah, I'm sorry, John, can I ask one more question? So, in working with the mayor's office, You give the school budget to the school, correct?
The school budget
Is
gets,
Chicopee a regionalized school district or not?
no.
Okay, so here, we're regionalized, and they give their school budget to us. We vote up or down. So that is completely different than what you would be used to. So working collaboratively is very important. So that will be very different than what you're used to. Rather than reviewing a budget, it is completely different. And like what John said, working with the Board of Selectmen, and it will be completely different, but I believe that you would have a great command of what needs to be done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have anything else? No? Adam, thank you so much for coming in. I really do appreciate it. It was nice meeting you, and I'm sure that we'll probably see you again. Carter, do you have something?
No, if this appointment meets with your satisfaction, we would like to have you ratify or confirm the appointment. And then, while we've talked about the competencies of the municipal management fellow on a number of occasions, we've made some changes. I do think it would be good if the board took a formal vote so that we're all on the same page moving forward as to what we expect and when you expect
Because it's
that.
all laid out here.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to confirm the town administrator's decision to hire Adam Lamontagne as the management fellow.
I
for
second that
Templeton.
motion.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any other discussion concerning the management fellow position?
Very good. Reverend.
I see none. Joey?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Welcome to Templeton.
Thank you so much.
And, Mr. Chairman, I would respectfully request a motion to approve the competencies required of the municipal management fellow as presented here this evening.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And just to confirm, all the changes that we discussed have been implemented, correct?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion?
And some of the suggestors will be calling to sit in upon the hypothetical testing panels, Doug.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, motion second. Any other discussion? I see none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well.
Thank you, Adam. Adam
What
will be
would be-
starting Monday morning.
That was the
He
next
would be
question.
starting Monday morning.
Monday mornings, yep.
Monday morning, 06?
7:30.
7:30, okay, I'll just check it.
6.
Adam, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
We've been working with you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Templeton.
Oh my God, I'm so happy.
Hey, Adam, before you leave, what town do you live in?
City of Chicopee.
You do live in Chicopee?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Tree.
Town Common Tree Risk Assessment, Mr. Hawkins and Mr. DPW Director. How are you, sir? You must be Mr. Hawkins?
I am.
How are you, sir?
I'm very good.
Great. So you're gonna give us a back brief on the, yeah, can you have a seat at the table? That'd be great. Yeah, please. Well, it's really not that hot, but,
So the intent here, Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
we have a number of trees on the common in varying stages of health, some more ill health than others,
mhm.
and in need of some attention. And before we went in there and just started doing something, we thought it best to get a report by a certified arborist. And then moving out of tonight, we'll be asking you for some monies at the fall town meeting. And should that be approved, then we would have a neighborhood meeting in the common for folks who have a greater interest, making sure all the trees were posted and everybody knew what was going on going forward, because there will be a great deal of interest in all the activity up there.
Okay. Thank you. So, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks. Yep.
Just identify yourself for the
Yes,
record again.
David Hawkins. I'm a consulting arborist, and my company is Urban Forestry Solutions. out of Pelham, Mass. And the town had asked me to take a look at 20 trees, big trees, old trees in town, and do a health and risk assessment on that.
Okay.
Which I did.
I can see that.
And as far as the, just a quick summary of results, basically what I did is a visual assessment of these trees, and then tap it with a mallet, to put it simply, to go around and see if there is some decay in there. And visually, I'm looking for defects in the tree, bad form, bad architecture, decay, cracks, dieback, and the mallet will tell me if, by sounding the trunk, if there's an issue inside. If I did find something that concerned me, I have a device called a resistograph, which measures wood resistance. And I think there were 7 trees that I was concerned about, and I did probe, and the results are in the report. I would add that I did one more tonight, so you can add one more removal to the list. It was the last tree, tree number 20, and I didn't resistograph it during my meeting or my inspection, so I did that before.
Okay.
And it's in pretty tough shape inside. So we have 7 removals, 1 possible removal. We'll talk about that later. 5 trees need to be pruned, and 2 of them need a support cable to brace up some weak branch attachments if you wanted to save the trees.
Okay. Carter, have you looked into dollars, what the projected dollar amount's gonna be for this type of work?
Well, we wouldn't know for certain until we bid it out. We would have to get some quotes with 30B. But my initial request to you is gonna be for 12.5.
Yep.
And then we'll have to deal probably with stump removal and potentially some replantings. Because this will really change
Yeah, the
the
makeup.
look. And I think you've already taken one down.
We did.
Mark, one was deemed
Yeah.
of such an imminent hazard.
Tree number 16 on page 24. That was taken down because of just falling down.
And that was one that was closest to the road?
Yes.
I gotcha.
Yes.
Right.
Right now, there's a little stub there if you were to see it.
So when you see the next draft of the fall town meeting report, you're gonna see a request for 12.5 to get started.
So my other question would be, I mean, obviously, the process on replacement, but obviously, the state statute on the tree hearings and stuff, are we still required by the statute to follow that?
Not if it's deemed a hazard or high-risk tree. The tree warden under Chapter 87, Section 5 has the power to take the tree down without a hearing if it's deemed a threat to public safety.
Okay.
There was, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
There was one, so tree number 20, I'm sorry, is the one that you did do. So you're recommending now, because when I had read it said possible removal, but you're actually recommending removal now. Because I
am.
was gonna say, my recommendation would be, like, I would rather err on the side of caution, and I would have recommended removing it. But
Yeah.
now you're saying we
It's
absolutely
definite.
should remove it.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, I'm sorry.
And what is the, I know there's a state statute on whatever you take down, you have to replace to a certain degree. Is there some type of
No.
guidance in that?
No, you don't need to replace anything. It's your choice if you want to put a tree back. There's no statute on that.
Isn't it? Okay.
No, not in the Chapter 87. If it's
Which would
bylaw in the
probably-
town, some towns have that. I don't believe Templeton does. so.
Yeah, I don't think we
I
have that
don't
in our
believe
bylaw.
we do not have a bylaw about that.
Correct.
Just one other comment that I didn't mention in my report, and this is affecting all ash trees in the Northeast, and it's the emerald ash borer. And we're gonna lose all our ash trees. We have to accept that in the next 20 years. They're gonna go by the way of the elm. And right now, it came in 2002 in the Midwest, and they've lost all their ash trees, millions and millions of them. It's in Mass now. The closest town is Lunenburg, Worcester, and Belchertown. So you guys are right in the middle. Something to consider if you want to keep these trees, and the maintenance that you put into them may not be worth it in the long run. So that's just something that you might want to get
Shame.
educated on. It is a shame,
That's-
yeah.
Wow.
It is really, you can take proactive actions and inject the tree before the insect hits it, but that costs money. and it has to be done for the life cycle of that insect in this area, which nobody knows. So,
That's unbelievable,
yeah, it's a serious pest.
apparently.
It's similar to the Asian longhorn beetle in Worcester, only it's much more mobile.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
And it only affects an ash tree?
Only ash trees, green and white ash in this region. And all you have is white ash here, which those are the big ones.
Right. Sir, you had your hand up in the back. Can you identify yourself?
Well, I was gonna bring up the subject of the emerald ash borer, you know.
Okay.
If the trees are gonna die anyway, do you wanna dump any more money into them?
Good point.
Yeah. And just another comment on ash trees in general. They're not really a long-lived tree in nature. You never see any mature ash forests. They're a pioneer species. They come in and get overrun with your oak, your maple, your hemlock. Back in the early part of the century, they found out they really plant well and they grow fast. So a lot of them were planted, and I think that happened here in Templeton as well as other communities. So these trees are well beyond their natural lifespan, kind of nurtured them along. So at this age, these are big trees, and you know, really have to put a lot into them to keep them going. A lot of pruning and monitoring, maybe fertilizing, and you know, it's big bucks to do
More
that.
labor
so
intensive.
Very labor intensive too.
What would be the, if I can
Yeah,
ask
go
one
ahead.
question, what would be the, if, you know, after we take these down and we do want to replant some, what would be the best, you know, hardiest, disease-resistant, but create shade tree would you
Perfect.
recommend?
Yeah, well, there's a whole palette of them, and I would recommend it according to the site where it is. If there are utility wires near there, you don't want a big, tall tree because you're just gonna cut it back to clear the lines. You don't want a big tree in an area between a road and a sidewalk because it just doesn't have the root space that it needs. So it's site-specific.
Site-specific.
But there's a lot of good trees around that, you know, if you want to go with natives, your oaks and maples, as long as they're away from the road, are good choices. Yeah, there's a lot out there.
The thing with oak is acorns.
Yeah, every tree has an issue. You know?
They
Maple's
kind of
got the
hurt.
leaves.
Yeah, maple's got leaves and seeds, and
Yeah.
I've got hickories in my yard, and all night long I hear things hitting the house, so it's,
All right, so what do you need from us at this point, Carter?
Just your questions. My intent, as I say, is to request some monies at the fall town meeting to deal with some of the more immediate issues. Get the stumps out in some of those areas, perhaps plant a couple next spring. This is gonna take a couple of cycles. And as he said, there's a wide variety of trees, and you know, each of them have their pluses and minuses. But I would like to move us forward with a replacement plan as well, so that we don't just cut them down and have it lose its character completely.
I had one other question. So you took down one already because of imminent.
Yes.
Are there any others that are in that shape?
Not that I heard of, save what I just heard tonight about tree number 20.
yeah, no, even these, the ones that I looked at, I wouldn't place them as an imminent threat. They're high risk at this point, moderate to high.
And that's
Just-
in our report.
And that will, yeah, that should be in the report. So, yeah, the
Okay, well,
trees
where
are
he just changed number 20.
Yeah.
From
Right.
possible to,
to recommended
it's
removal.
still in the moderate to high.
The moderate to high, you need to address it. Chances are these trees will come down in severe weather. If, you know, they're,
Okay, we're supposed to have a harsh winter.
hope not, but.
I'm just saying, that is, that all arrows point to a very harsh winter.
Okay. But, you know, you have a plan in place now, so
On
you
the-
guys are pretty much covered.
Okay,
And you're
All right,
gonna
thank you.
implement it.
your report was very well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very informative.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there some, can we put this report online too as well, Carter? Can we do that?
We
For the
can,
public?
and I was just gonna mention that one of the things we did in another community was that it took us a couple of years, but annually, with some of the school kids and the scout troop. We also planted only one tree a year. We did it on Arbor Day, you know, as part of
Right.
Right.
a little bit of community PR. Because if you were to try to do it all at once and bring in any mature sized tree, and by that I mean above 2.5 inches, the costs would be astronomical. They would blow you away.
Can I just mention that we need to put this online in color? Because there were mentions of red X's and mine was in black and white and I couldn't see.
I think the PDF may be in
PDF
color.
should be is in
Okay, so
color.
can we please
Yeah.
just make sure that we put it online in color?
One
Thank you.
comment on your tree planting, if you approach the utilities, they have a program where they will plant trees for you under the wires. Their choice, so that they don't have to spend money to maintain them in the future.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
might be worth
We're a
it.
municipal light department,
Oh,
so,
Well,
We're doing it ourselves.
okay.
many
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the,
I forgot about that.
many of the things, you know, National Grid and Star and the others.
Right.
We don't have in
Okay,
this
yeah.
district.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. for that.
And Mark, you got a chance to look at this report as well?
I did.
Okay. And you went,
I took a look out there and, it is what it is.
Okay.
Take a look at the trees. I'm hoping as this bad weather comes, winds in excess of 40 miles an hour, I think we're gonna find out pretty quick.
understood.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't wanna find out and have someone, get hurt. As we all know, it's happened in
Sure.
other communities, and that's, would be my greatest fear.
I understand that.
And yours as well, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Oh, yes.
They'll tackle the ones that they think are highest risk, or if we can work with utilities, but I don't want you to believe that 12.5 is gonna do the entire
No.
job. If you're looking to prune, remove, stump, and start to plant anew.
Right, right. So what's, obviously the plan right now moving forward, obviously getting this on the warrant for the 12.5, I got that to start. When you project to start the tree removals?
Well, we need the monies first, and then it would depend upon the availability of, you know, of the firms that we would
I-
solicit pricing from.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, obviously, this is happening, requests obviously in October. Say you follow, 30B, and you follow the guidelines of the statute, so you put that up for, say, a 2-week or a 30-day, now we're into like the end of November, December.
And I wanna have some meetings with the neighborhood, at least
So-
one out in the neighborhood.
Absolutely, absolutely, so now you're looking
January.
January,
Yeah, you're probably gonna be mid-winter
crossing our
or
fingers.
spring.
and crossing our fingers and hoping nothing happens over the winter. Is that pretty much what we're?
Well, I mean,
Miss- Mr. Chairman, can
Yeah.
I ask? I have a concern with that, where you have at least 6 to 7 of these trees are at high risk right now.
Right, based on the chart here, yeah.
We have a pretty harsh winter. 4 of those coming down in a storm, that's gonna cripple the center of Templeton?
Yeah.
I would have a concern with that. We can't go any quicker than this? I'm just not sure, and I'm not in favor of taking down
Right,
every tree.
yeah.
I don't want people to take that the wrong way. My concern is that by the time we may get funding set and ready, we are looking at middle of winter. It's gonna get delayed till spring. So what are
One comment
our other
on that.
options, I guess, is,
A big concern with these trees is that some of them are healthy. They have a full
Right.
crown. They green leaf, you'd think there's nothing wrong with them.
Mm-hmm.
The threat is not so much winter, because the leaves are gone. All right, yeah, we get ice and heavy snow, you're gonna weight things, but it's high winds and high rain that is the bigger
because they're
threat here,
so
because
tall.
you get that kind of sail effect from that crown, you get the extra weight of the rain,
We have 1 or 2
and,
right
you
on
know,
see.
then
okay.
you have a defect in the trunk, and that's when these things can come down, like, a downburst, if we have a hurricane or a tropical storm winds while the leaves are on it. That concerns me more than winter at this point.
I feel better now. That explains my, thank you so
Only
much for
2 of
doing
the
that.
trees are marked as high risk. Most of them are marked as low risk.
Yeah, most are low. Anything on there with a risk is, the low risk is like for pruning deadwood over a road. We look at the likelihood of targets and people getting hit or
Is it correct to
injured.
me? 'Cause that
So.
drives me crazy.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
The important thing, if I can, Mr. Chairman, is
Yep.
we wanted to make sure that the community knew we'd had a professional look at them, that we had a plan, and that we weren't just going in with the chainsaw, kind of going after what we thought. And I think it is important, given the nature of the common, to have another meeting out there for the public at large.
Sure, no, I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. And then having this online, so at least the public can actually take a look
Yeah,
at.
we'll
the
have it
report
up
as well.
in the next day or two, but
All right.
we do like to make sure you've had the
Set a
documents
date
first.
for this?
Yeah, set a date for the
Do you
meeting.
want
That
to
make
set
you
a
feel better,
date?
Julie?
Would you like to set a date for this neighborhood? I can tell you that I went to a neighborhood rock meeting that had 4 people at it. So if we want to talk to the neighborhood, we might want to do that prior to putting it on the warrant or after?
I'm gonna ask you for probably a public hearing or meeting on the entire warrant, because
Okay,
we've got the private road repair bylaw.
Right,
We've got the special legislation.
okay.
right.
So not till November.
I'm looking for a bylaw that allows us to contract with all of our department heads. Not just the ones that statute provide for. So there's a number of different things that I think are out of the norm. And we're also trying to get in the green community
Right.
public hearing between now and then. So if we could perhaps set that next Wednesday night, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. Next Wednesday.
I don't know if Holly had a chance to get the email up, but we were gonna ask if we could start the retreat at 6. Try to hold the warrant to not much more than half an hour, so that there'll be plenty of time for the retreat.
So on the 19th, you wanna,
Set some dates,
okay,
if that's agreeable.
I think so. What are you guys okay with that?
Mhm.
Setting dates? Looking at the calendar. Okay. Great. Unless anybody else have any other questions for the Director of Public Works or the arborist? None? Thank you so much for coming. I
Thank
you.
appreciate your report.
Thank you,
Well
Mr.
done.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
night.
Hawkins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Formally create the Advisory Committee Bylaw Review Subcommittee and appointments. I guess that was on me. There was a question that was raised that one of the Advisory Committee members rose to somebody from state, Boston, I think, I'm not really sure to be exact, but he questioned the fact that if 2 members from the Board of Selectmen or 2 members from the Advisory Committee meet together, then that would constitute a subcommittee, which means you are being subject to open meeting law, and if you meet, then it will be an open meeting law violation. What I explained was it wasn't so much we were meeting and discussing, it was more of a discussion or work group versus actually a meeting to devise or to develop a plan of action, but it was something, a working group type of thing. So I concurred, I said, that's fine. I met with the vice chair, and I said, well, this is, if we need to do this, and this is what we need to do. We need to statutorily put this committee together, and then appoint the 2 members of this board, which would be myself and the vice chair. Then the advisory committee is doing the same thing, and they are appointing their 2 individuals. Then once that happens, then at that point, we can meet, and then we can meet in open forum to the public, and hopefully have some good discussions. Unless there's any questions?
It seems weird to have like an even number. Why would you not want to have a member at large? Like from the public?
I don't know, this was talked about, and we agree, obviously
Was
the
this a
board.
meeting I wasn't at?
It might have been, but we agreed that,
Gee, big surprise.
so basically what it was we came up,
Couple meetings.
So it's because we can't come to an agreement on what to do with the bylaw?
We can, but, I mean, other people have some concerns, and I want to address those concerns to make sure that we're all on the same page, and then we all are working together and making sure things go the way they need to go. I mean,
We've
it's,
talked about it on our board. Have they talked about it with
yes,
their
they have.
committee?
Yes, they have, and they've actually, they're gonna appoint their two individuals, which was Mr. Bennett and Mr. Curry. So those two will meet with myself, and if this board allows this to happen, again, this would be a bylaw, again, it's only for the advisory committee bylaw that we instilled, based on what we had at last town meeting, that there were some questions, and some residents had some questions that we didn't collaborate with the advisory committee when we were doing this, and I wanna make sure that that's all water under the bridge, and that we have collaborated with them. In fact, during the meetings that we had last year, during our budget meetings, during the review of the warrant before we went into town meeting, we asked them, in fact, I specifically asked if they had any questions or comments, concerns, with the bylaw changes concerning the advisory committee, and I can look back at the video, because I know it was televised, that they said that there wasn't any concerns. Then we get to the meeting, the town meeting, and then obviously there were some concerns. We bypassed it, we didn't.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, now here we are, after Mr. Tenzini has sent it to the advisory committee a couple times. No response back, but then the response we did get back was, they wanted to have a working group between the two members from the advisory committee and two members from the Board of Selectmen, that hopefully we can come to some type of an agreement. I don't think if you looked at the bylaw, I don't think there's anything that's gonna hurt the advisory committee or hurt the town. We're coming up to the standards of the statute and how things are supposed to operate, managing the policies that are in place right now, that the town has put in place, that we as a Board of Selectmen have put in place. But again, I have no issue meeting with the advisory committee, two members, with myself and Mr. Foyt's. Unless, Carl, do you have any issues?
I'm trying to understand what the issues are. So,
Excellent.
I have no comment.
None?
Yeah.
Do you have any issues? Any comments?
I think the bylaw
Is-
is good, and if having the discussion in a subcommittee is what it takes to get it passed, then let's do it.
Okay, so basically, the first thing we would have to do is, formally create the advisory committee bylaw review subcommittee.
So would that come to us at the next meeting for appointments?
Well, because this is the first time you're
Let's do it all
seeing it.
now. Yeah, well,
Yeah, we
This
can't.
is the first time you're seeing it, so,
Right, so the next meeting, would we have to make appointments?
yes.
Yes. So, bring it on.
Because I don't think we can, but actually, this is not,
Bring it on.
Yeah, we
just-
discussed this.
I wish we could
Couple
just get this
meetings ago.
done.
no, we discussed this before, didn't we, Mr.
We discussed
Tenzini?
this many times.
Okay, so I think we can, again, I don't wanna violate any open meeting laws by no means, but I wanna make sure
So
because.
can we just put together a list, Holly, and make the appointments at whatever our next business meeting is?
I can make a
don't see why you
motion right
can't
now.
Do it tonight. You have
Do we
the
know
two
who they
people.
are?
Yeah.
John Capley and,
Well, you can't appoint the advisory committee's representative.
No.
We can
All you can do
appoint
is
ours?
appoint your own.
Okay, so
Which is myself and Foyt's.
I move to nominate John Caplis and Cameron Forts to the Advisory Committee Bylaw Review Subcommittee till their work has completed.
amen, I second that.
Much more than 12 to 15 years.
Did I miss the whole motion on creating it?
What?
Is there a motion to create it?
I just
We
did it.
gotta- Well, we
She
gotta
just
create
made
the
it.
No,
committee.
you had to-
Oh, I'm
We gotta
sorry.
appoint people.
Oh,
Okay, so I make a motion to create a Advisory Committee Bylaw Review Subcommittee.
I have a motion, I have a second?
No, wait,
Second.
stop.
For the purposes
An
of,
Advisory Bylaw Review Subcommittee.
you did
Yeah,
it
you did
right.
right.
No, I said committee in there. An Advisory Bylaw Review Subcommittee.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion, I have a second?
second.
I have a motion, and a second, any other discussion?
You're right, Holly, I'm sorry.
I see none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Now go with your next motion.
Now I make a motion to nominate,
Appoint.
appoint, will you just let me, I'm sorry, I'm having like some issues because I can't hear. I make a motion to appoint John Caplis and Cameron Forts to said Advisory Bylaw Review Subcommittee for, until their work is completed.
12, 15 years.
Okay, for,
No, he's only joking.
For-
He's totally joking.
Carter, stop playing with me tonight. Stop. That's until their work is completed.
Okay,
End
I
of
got
story.
it. I
Who's
got it.
seconding that?
I have a motion and a
Second.
second. Excellent. Any other discussion concerning this appointments of the two individuals? I see none. Julie? Julie?
Yes.
Yes, nice, I like it. Diane?
Yes?
Doug?
Yes?
And I abstain.
Oh my
Well,
gosh.
thank you for
I
that.
can't even speak today.
Okay, what's moving on here? CPC grant for dwelling farm conservation area? Dwelly farm, excuse me.
I looked over this, and I move to approve the grant for Dwelly Farm Conservation Area for the Community Preservation Committee and for the chairman to sign.
I have a motion
John
already.
Henshaw would sign.
The motion will suffice.
With the chairman to sign?
He does need to sign.
I thought John Henshaw would sign.
John Henshaw signs, but there's also a place for the board to sign.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have a
Just
motion.
checking.
Odd document.
Okay, I have a motion.
You know me, just checking.
Absolutely. I have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. Any other discussion concerning this?
No. I asked my questions, they were
I
answered.
see none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Any board or staff member comments? Yes, Mr. Tanzini.
First, we'll send out to you a single clean document tomorrow for the retreat. If folks could just bring those with them. Our plan is to have those large posted size, that we could just write everything down from everybody,
Mhm.
get them up on the wall, so you can sort of see what everybody has and have your discussion growing out of that. We will also be sending you a draft warrant tomorrow. Please feel free to send us questions ahead of time so that we can try to keep the warrant portion of the program as small as possible.
Okay, 30 minutes.
I do want to let you know that today we did, Richard Curtis and I file our letter of interest in a pre-hazard mitigation grant from FEMA for Stony Bridge Road. And on Monday, we will be issuing the request for proposals for the data collection, option analysis. We'll have a fairly large number in the warrant on that, because we can always bring the number down, but we have a limit as to how much we can bring it up. That'll be on our website, and we've pre-selected 4 firms that we'll go to. With respect to openings, following up on your workshop of last week, the Economic Development and Industrial Corporation still needs members. And I think we talked at some length about economic development and new growth really being what the community needs desperately.
How many members?
Five.
How
Five?
many DIC do we
Five.
need?
On that, or
We
5?
still need 5?
There's only 2, right?
No, there's 3.
3, I'm sorry. 4.
So is it
Mr.
5 or
Chairman,
7?
can I
5 that
ask?
they have, so there's
How
2
many-
more needed.
How many applications have you received, and have you reviewed them all? And has everyone been contacted that might want to be on these committees?
We only received 3.
My belief is that you have appointed each person who's applied. We don't have any outstanding applications. And this,
Really?
if we're gonna have a business economic development program,
There has been
a
a
business
appointment.
visitation program, this is really a very important element for your future.
So we have 4
Success.
positions.
You have 4
And
positions.
Just 5.
I would close with that as my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you.
He keeps saying, look, it's 5 positions and there's 2 openings.
So wait, so there's 5
5
positions,
positions.
so there's 2 openings?
2 openings.
Oh, I'm sorry, so there's 2 openings, okay.
And I'm sure one of them is some type of real estate agent or,
Yeah. Well, we need a commercial
Yeah,
real
we-
estate agent, so I'm gonna look into
I'd
that.
have to look at,
What's that?
I'd have to look at the makeup to.
Yeah. There was a couple positions that were definitely made up in a certain way. Hold on one second. Yes, Steve,
Oh, so
please.
he might be asking the question that I wanted to ask. Please.
Yes.
So I believe the two positions, definitely commercial real estate, and I think we're also eyeing a local banker. So
Oh, well, I'm gonna look into both of those.
Mr. Eaton and I can start recruiting people as well.
Okay.
And I don't know how the other members felt, but I've been kind of busy with TCTV things,
Mhm.
and
All right, I'm gonna look into those. I
I
have a
was
lot of contacts.
assuming we had to wait for the whole committee to form.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I really didn't realize.
Well, you don't have to wait,
Yes,
you just don't have a forum to vote on anything. You can actually have a business meeting.
Right.
What do they call this? Is it a business meeting they can call
They
it?
have a quorum, right?
They have a quorum,
Oh, yeah, you have three, that's right, you have a
but
quorum.
there's quite a bit to be done.
Right,
That's gonna be hard to do.
And it's really important to get that complement filled out.
right.
But if they've got a quorum, they can start at any time.
Well, at least start the process of, getting your meeting scheduled, getting your ducks in the right direction.
I'll work
And
with
I know-
Mr. Eaton on that.
I'm sure Glenn's got some great ideas.
No,
along with yourself.
And I think as the chairman knows, we talked with several
Mhm.
people from the area. So I don't know if it's restricted just to Templeton residents, but we talked to other people who may be good fits for real estate and banking as well, and any
have a lot of
references you
contacts.
have.
I don't think the
Yeah,
statute
I know
requires
you
it's
do.
Well,
Templeton
the
residents.
board's
We don't
policy
have any.
calls for appointments to committees of the town to be drawn from residents and voters of the town.
Mhm.
In the rewrite, we had suggested that also if they had a business in town, or a taxpayer in town,
Right.
or had some knowledge in a very specific area, and had some sort of connection to the town, that you not lose out on those kinds of people.
Right, I don't want to limit ourselves.
But I believe that the EDIC being a private
Entity.
but being its own entity and having specific requirements for its members should probably be exempt from the requirement, or our requirement, that they have to be from Templeton. Because the goal of the EDIC is to grow the economic development. You need the people that have the expertise to do that.
Right.
And those people may or may not live in Templeton.
I understand.
So, I think that particular organization needs to have that latitude
That is
to
very
bring
true.
people from other communities.
Realtors don't just live, eat and breathe, well, I do, their own community. They sell real estate in other communities and they may live in one town and have a niche in another town.
Mhm.
So, let me look into
Okay.
those two, those two things.
Right, thank you, Steve, for that.
My one question is I had asked at the workshop, and I do not remember the answer, is will Mr. Castle be coming before our committee for his TCTV?
It's on the warrant, you've asked for it, and
It's on the warrant, but
there.
he's not gonna come and talk to us at all?
You already said yes, if it takes you a 30-minute
Okay.
presentation to get to
Okay,
a
no.
second yes.
I was just asking.
It's already there.
Okay, I'm
By all
sorry.
means.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Kyra, I appreciate it.
I will
Thank
be
you.
present on the 19th if you have any questions.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you.
Say, anything
Thank
else, Kyra?
I have nothing.
Any other board or staff member comments at this time? I see none, and we don't need to go into an executive session, do we? Excellent. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Great. Any other discussion?
I think there was a turn.
I see none. Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Thank you all for joining us.